dead man talking. Dead man talking. Yeah, I'm live. Yep, I'm here. JJ's here. Brian's here.
We're all here.
That must mean welcome to Fast Charging with BnB, and I'm Bear.
And I'm Brian.
Not coughing, Brian. That's my job. I do the coughing around here. And today we have another 57 topics to go through.
Only.
Yeah. So we've gotten 1 minute and 7 seconds per topic is what we've allotted. So roll right into it, Brian. You got this.
I think so. Do you know that the United States Postal Service is under more pressure to deliver a 100% EV fleet?
Well, I think the only way that they're going to do that is if they can maybe knock that guy Louis DeJoy off the planet. Maybe have a cat push him off the flat earth or something, because that corrupt individual is fighting this as much as he can.
He is.
You okay?
And it's ridiculous. They're going to save so much money in the long term. Regenerative braking, man. It's crazy to think. You know how much they go through starters on mail trucks?
Oh, I could only imagine.
Yeah.
But those mail trucks, they take a beating, and they use them for a long time. We've talked about this before. Those things are 40 years old, 50 years old, and they're still out there doing their thing. And I just can't imagine why they would want to continue with a gas motor powered one. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And you know what? It would probably save a lot of mailmen from getting bit by dogs, because the dogs would not hear them coming up.
That is a good point.
And I only brought that up because I didn't get mail for the last 10 days, and I went into the post office yesterday, and I said, "Where's my mail?" And it's like, was there any problem delivering mail at your house? I'm like, well, my dog kind of bit the mailman in the nuts a couple weeks ago. Yep, that would do it. I'm like, well, if he had an electric truck, my dog would have never heard him coming up, and this would not have happened. So This is Louis DeJoy's fault, not mine. So
yeah. Yep, 100%. 100%.
It's a true story.
Anybody got anything new coming out?
Yes, everybody. I got an email on this morning, and I have an annoying clicking going on my side, and I can't find it. Oh my goodness. Sorry everyone for that noise that I'm sure everybody's hearing. So the Polestar 6 was not just recently, but announced this morning as coming out in 2026. Polestar's coming out with one car per year. Indefinitely. They're on the 2 right now, and I guess the number's going to match up to the year. And this is a cute little car. I like the way it looks. I did throw up in my mouth a little bit when I saw the deposit amount was $25,000. So I did not reserve one. And then when I got to the stats, I was equally shocked because it has about the same stats as, let's say, a Model 3 Performance. 3.1, 0 to 60. It actually has less range than a Model 3. It's under 300. So the top speed is higher. Okay, actually this was 3.2 on the Polestar 6. So the Model 3 Performance has it beat. So cool looking car though. It is a roadster. I mean, obviously it looks a whole lot different than a Model 3. So I think it's kind of cute, but not $200,000 cute.
No. And I'm not convinced that's what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I'm not either. And the worst part about this, when you go through the pictures, they have a picture of the interior. Let's see if I don't think I clicked on the right page. No, I did not. They have a picture of the interior, and they have the same lousy screen that they have in the Polestar 2. And I am not a fan of their software interface in the Polestar. And they say Tesla is minimalistic. I don't know what the level is beneath that, but Polestar nailed it. So there is just not a lot going on that screen, and it's not intuitive. So I hope that they would do something better for a $200,000 car.
Yeah. 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 Well, there's other cars coming out.
There sure is. Dude, we just can't see what they are. Because because somebody drew a shape of a car and put a fake cover over their render.
I love that you can see 23 photos of it if you'd like.
Is there? Wow, there is 23 photos of. Oh my goodness! Wow. I'm looking at them now. Oh, there's pictures of other cars. That's the
Oh,
that's the
that makes
2000.
yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, because
Because you can't show 23 pictures of that. Uh,
maybe you could, but you shouldn't.
you
So
know.
so there, it looks like there's going to have one based on their the Acura NSX, and the other one based on was it the S2000, which was a small little convertible car, wasn't it? That I got into one once and could not get all the way in. It was cute, but it's not for the big guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And if Honda gets serious, they can compete. I'm glad they're doing something instead of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Specialty should start at less than 50, but the Halo model will most likely cost more than 150.
Yeah.
And they haven't gone into that price bracket before, but I think they absolutely can.
Just depends on what's under. Whoa! Papa bag. Holy crap! I got a pop-up ad and I have no idea where it's coming from.
Nice.
Not
Nice.
really.
No.
Hold on. I got no idea. Son of a. Good tunes, but don't want to hear it.
So
It's totally going over you right now.
okay. I will give it just a moment. Let's sort it out. Does your browser not give you a little micro or a little speaker icon on the tablet making noise?
It is, but I know what it is. I found it, but I got to shut it off. It's that Dodge video that we were coming up
it just
to.
went live.
It just
Oh,
went
nice.
live. We had
Nice.
we had a surprise for you guys. There was, and we'll get to it in a minute because we got to talk about the best car ever, the Wuling.
Yeah.
The Wuling.
Yeah, let's get that out of the way. Wuling's got a new model coming up.
Fantastic.
49, yeah, under $5,000, up to 41 horsepower. Yeah, 0 to 60, yes, and tops out at 100 kilometers per hour. That's 62, baby. So you can do your 0 to 60. It is kind of a death trap.
Yeah.
In the pre-show, I said to Bear, "Don't look up Wuling crash test," and he did.
I had
And
to.
what we found was
You will die.
a little concerning. You will you will die, but compared to other small cars, you'll die a slow death, which is you'll have a few moments to get right with your maker.
Just a few seconds.
You might make it to the hospital.
You
It's
might. Yeah. So that was a death trap beyond any death trap. I'm closing the video because I don't want to get tagged by YouTube for showing insensitive death videos. So you have to definitely take that out. But speaking of death, Dodge is killing the Challenger and Charger gas versions.
They are indeedy do.
End of next year, the 2023 will be the last of them, and they will no longer be making them. See, and I was under the false pretenses that they were going to put a 6-cylinder into the Challenger and possibly the Charger, and that Dodge had a new 6-cylinder that was going to be quicker, faster, better, stronger than the V8 that they had in the Hellcat. But
Wow.
it looks like that's not going to come to pass. And next year will be the last year of the muscle cars of the Challenger and the Charger. So while
Do you know if those have gas guzzler taxes on them?
they've had Dodge has had to pay Tesla carbon credits for these cars.
Right, but in addition to that,
I,
oh, right, because it's the fleet average that counts.
yeah, I don't think that they've had to pay the gas guzzler tax. I do know that, like I've got a Challenger with the Scat Pack, so it's got the big block engine in it, 392, and it actually does cut down to 4 cylinders when you're coasting and things like that. So they are aware of it and try to mediate that. And if you're not really going into that thing hot, it doesn't do that bad as far as gas mileage. You can get 20.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, then it would almost definitely not incur the gas guzzler tax. I had to pay a gas guzzler tax on the one and only new car I ever bought,
Which was?
the Viper.
You bought a Viper brand new?
Yeah, in 2000.
Oh, wow.
Different life, man. Different life.
Was that when you were in the cartel?
And yes, I worked for Washington Mutual.
Okay.
Yeah. It was I spent $10 a day on gas, and that's when gas was $1.50.
Ooh, yeah.
I looked so good doing it.
I had an excursion that, diesel excursion, and I used to drive that 40 miles to work every day. I ended up buying a Ford Focus, and I saved so much money on gas that the Focus was free.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So.
Nice. So that's it for Dodge, huh? No more quick cars.
Oh, well, you know what? No, that's not true, because they are introducing, as many of you may have heard, when the live stream that has been sitting here on my desk for several hours kicked on, and they are debuting their first electrified Dodge. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Are you watching the video?
It looks like a Mitsubishi.
I haven't even gotten that far. I just keep seeing a bee flying by.
I just clicked it to start it, so I'm all the way caught up to live, and it is. That's a turd, my friend.
Oh, is it? I still haven't. I just keep seeing a bug, and I don't mean a Volkswagen.
Yeah, it
What
is.
the? Okay, so
Yeah.
this is not. It's a Dart, isn't it?
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
the gold and the blue.
Dart, yeah. The Dart is such an ugly car that when they had their ad campaign a few years ago, in the commercial, they showed mostly drawings of it. Not even renders, but drawings. And then some blurry shots of it at the end because it did not look like the drawings.
Yeah. Okay, so these are compact utility vehicles. I was hoping we were going to see something for the replacing the Challenger and the Charger, but this is, I don't know. You know what? Maybe the specs are like incredible. Maybe it gets like 700 miles on a 50 kilowatt battery, and it has a bidet in it in the back seat or something.
We can come back to this later, but
Yeah.
that is.
Well, I don't know what they're calling it. All I know is I saw the 2 on it, which made me think it was a Dart. They really know how to destroy the names.
Do you know that Lincoln's aviator-sized EV is going to lift off in 2024
Thanks for
ahead of more electric luxury SUVs?
Yeah, thanks for making me move on, by the way. That's a beautiful concept car.
Yeah.
If you go through the article, the A pillar is going to be added in, and so is the B pillar, because apparently they're not on here. If you look through the glass, you see that there's no B pillar, and there has to be one. So I think we're going to be a ways off from what this looks like, but I think that looks really cool, but it won't look like that in real life.
No.
Another, too bad. So
Yeah.
But
The
it's
front reminds me of Faraday Future.
yeah, yeah, I can see that. I like the wheels though. I'll tell you, I do like those wheels.
Yeah,
They do look like
yeah.
they ride pretty rough though, because those are low profile tires, pretty low profile.
But they won't look like that.
Yeah. Notice how there's no door handles.
Yeah, which is possible.
Yeah, yeah, and you could also see all one photos.
Yeah, I did like that there's a gallery of a photo.
Yes, a photo,
Uh-huh.
singular. So
Yeah.
two battery packs, 75.7 and 98.8. So that 98.8 could actually power that thing to 275 miles, maybe.
I think so. But
Because
that smaller pack, boy, I don't know. I think you'd have a lot of buyer's regret for that.
oh, absolutely, I totally agree with that. That is for that size vehicle, it looks like it's going to be too small of a battery. Speaking of battery packs, Neo and their swapping idea, they're going to come bring that to the U.S. market and probably fail in their opening up their first battery swap station in 2025, and that arrives.
What?
Okay, that title makes no sense. Neo to enter the U.S. in 2025. First battery swap station arrives in November of here now. Okay, so
Weird.
even though there's no Neos in the United States, they're going to build their first one in 2022. This article makes no sense, but
Yeah.
they're coming, and they're hoping that you guys want to swap batteries out. Raise your hand, and if you raise your hand in the comments if you'd like to swap your battery out, if you think that's a good idea. And iMelt said that Dodge said Hornet on it, and there was a Dodge Hornet, and that is more blasphemy coming from the car companies if they're making a compact SUV into the Hornet.
Right. That'd be like making a 4-door and calling it a Mustang.
Yeah, you heard last week there was a rumor of a 4-door Camaro
Yeah. Yeah.
right after the 4-door Corvette.
Yeah.
I don't.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, great. We're going to have more subscriptions. People love those.
Oh,
Nobody finds subscriptions frustrating and irritating.
Yeah, and you know what I love about subscriptions? That they're so easy to cancel.
So easy. They make it so easy.
4Q said, "What's the price of the Hornet and the Lincoln?" We didn't watch the Hornet thing to find out the price, but the Lincoln said estimated 70,000. And then he said, "Yes, I want to swap, but I can read sarcasm all over that." I don't know why it's sarcasm, but it has to be because nobody wants to swap their batteries.
Yeah. Yeah. And having a swappable I saw one comment a person was saying, well, at least give us the option of a swap for when we're on road trips. And it's like, right. But now you're adding weight and complexity to every vehicle you sell for the 1% of people who want to use that feature 1% of the time. It's a net loss.
4Q brings up a point. Swapping allows you
Yeah.
to upgrade the battery without buying a new car when the battery tech gets better. Yeah, it could. But how often is there like upgrades that are like substantial to upgrade?
Right.
I can't imagine you can go with a bigger battery pack. Otherwise, you probably would have gotten that in the first place, and they'd probably
Right.
charge for that upgrade. So I'm not sure. I always worry about swapping batteries with a battery pack that is not working right. And
Yeah, but you could swap it again.
not if you're on the road trip. You know,
Right.
you're on your
Right.
road trip and you're like, oh hey, I'm going to swap my battery out so I can get to this next charging station or the next swapping station, and it's 250 miles away, and you find out that there's something wrong with this thing, and you're dead in 50 miles. Now you're 50 miles from the last swapping station. So what do? I just don't know about road trips. Now, semis, if they could be swapped quickly, because those will take a lot longer to charge. But if you were able to swap out the semi packs, maybe. But then, like in the Nikola, there's 9 packs in there. 9 separate packs. Seems like it might be a little bit more time consuming.
It'd be absolutely very involved, even if you made them to remove as easily as possible. They'd weigh the amount of weight we're talking about for a mechanical system to shuffle would be complicated.
Yeah, I also, how like you put your charging cable into your phone, and then you do it like a few thousand times, and your charging cable doesn't work, and then you throw it away and you get another charging cable. So you've got a connection. You got a cable connection that's going into another connection. How many of those swaps before a piece of dirt gets in there or something just makes it not work? The metal contacts bend just a little bit, so it's not working. The less moving parts, the better to me.
And that's a lot of juice moving between that connection.
Yeah.
Do you know the Hyundai Ioniq 6 is already cooler than the Tesla Model 3?
Yeah. You know what? I don't know about that. Well, one, I haven't been in an Ioniq 6. But I'll tell you, the interior of the Ioniq 6 looks a lot like the Ioniq 5. And I was reading this article, and the person complaining was the Tesla 3 doesn't have all these features and all these things in front of you. But the Ioniq 5, which is set up, like I said, the same way. If you look at the interior, the dash is nearly the same. They screwed the pooch on setting some of these things up. If you can look at that one picture of the interior, it's kind of a picture from the driver's standpoint, even though it's right in the middle. Do you see the stalks on the side?
I do.
Okay. Can you see anything on them?
No.
When you're sitting in that driver's seat, the one on the bottom right is actually the gear shifter to go from park, drive, neutral, and reverse. You can see that one. The other two, the turn signal one and the wiper one, you can't see anything on it. They're completely blocked by the steering wheel. Absolutely horrible the way they laid it out. They needed to just move something so that you can actually see it. So I had my first rainy drive in the Ioniq earlier this week, or over the weekend, I think, and I had a hard time getting the wipers on because I'm just looking to see. I had to lean forward and look over the steering wheel to see what I'm looking at. Not a great layout, and that software, even though Polestar is 10% of what the Hyundai is as far as software goes, the Hyundai is too much.
What do you think of the styling
of the outside of the car?
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I think it's probably going to either look a lot better or worse in person. It kind of looks a little Porsche-esque, but I don't mind that either. And I also don't mind the interior. I just think that they needed to work on some things as far as placement. So I love the dash underneath where you've got like some climate controls and things like that. I do like having those easily available as opposed to like the Model 3 where you got to go through a menu or two. But, there's some things that were laid out very improperly on this car.
Yeah. And do you think it'll have the side cameras instead of mirrors?
No, I don't. I think they're going to have mirrors. I wish they had the cameras. I like where they put the cameras on the dashboard. I think that was a semi-good idea, except I think the fake cameras that they have on the outside, it kind of looks like a giant pimple or something. Tesla's already figured this out. Put it on the fender. And they still put the whole idea of moving them inside was to get a better coefficient, a drag coefficient. But they still left them outside. So, what are you looking for? Somebody in there bothering you?
Yeah. So, I think we can move on from that.
Yeah, I guess you're done with that, huh? Okay.
Tug-of-war. Diesel versus electric.
Yeah, did you get a chance to watch this one?
No, I just assume that it's going to come down to weight and torque.
Well, yeah, sort of. The first vehicle, the F-150, the regular one, with the EcoBoost, and the lightning kind of beat it up pretty good, dragged it through fairly quickly. Now the Ram diesel did a little bit better. I would say the lightning got it to move maybe 6 inches because it had the instant torque, where the Ram needed that second to move it.
Just to spool up the turbos.
Yeah. So the Lightning was able to pull the Ram only 6 inches. Then they're both deadlocked, and nobody went anywhere. But that Ram, I think, weighed 1,000 pounds more than the Lightning.
Mm.
So
That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah. I saw my first Lightning at a dealership today. I was able to crawl around it. It was one of the Lightning Pros, which has no features. It was very cheap and flimsy inside. But it was the work truck model. So it did not have all the luxury plastics and trim, and it really looked like it didn't have nice features. But the frunk was fabulous. Power frunk, and you could climb in there and bury yourself. So, anyway.
In the cooler.
In the cooler. But yeah, there's plenty of room in there.
Yeah. Any other pickup truck EV news?
Yeah, the Rivian. They're losing money. Pretty 1.7 billion for the quarter.
It's insane.
Yeah,
it is a truly breathtaking cash burn for how little production they're getting.
Yeah, but I will say, as far as the production go, how much of that was CapEx expense? Do you know?
I don't know. I did not look.
Yeah, because they, at least they can say they produce more cars than Lucid, or maybe eight times the amount of cars as Lucid. So I think that's a good track to be on. They delivered 4,467 cars. It's not bad. I mean, they're getting a whole lot more out than others, like we just said. And I'm not sure where their total is for the year. It looks like it's probably around 7,000. And they think that they're going to do 25,000 units this year between the quarter 3 and quarter 4. So they are improving their numbers. They are getting higher. So that's good.
And they do have 15 billion cash on hand, but at this rate, that's going to last 2.5 years.
Yeah, but if they can actually start pushing out, 30,000-40,000 cars every quarter, that cash burn will obviously go down, and hopefully one day they can get that down to zero.
Yeah, and they're saying they're going to introduce an LFP version of the battery.
That should help.
Yes. I don't know what it'll do in terms of range and weight, because it is a heavier battery per kilowatt hour.
Yeah. Well, they are going to.
But you can charge to 100 and down to 0 without harming it, so you get some of that back.
Yeah, you get actually a real range and not the BS range of don't use this amount type of thing. So
Lockhart says CapEx should not be reflected in those losses.
Okay. Then.
So thank you for that, I suppose.
Then WTF? I need to become a vendor of Rivian. Oh hell! I'll just. You know what I think? I'll just send them a bill.
There you go.
Yeah. Apparently, they're paying anyone who sends them a bill. Hey, I wonder if like 500 million of that went to like Nigerian princes and things like that.
Only one of them needs to pay off for this to work.
Yeah.
I mean, surely one of them's got to be real, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that Rivian's going to give pre-order holders the buyer's agreement? They'll get the $7,500 tax credit.
Yeah. I'm a little confused on this because the whole everything hasn't been set in stone yet. It may have been.
Oh, it was signed today.
Oh, it was signed today?
But that doesn't mean we understand it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not sure how this, just because there's a buyer's agreement, Because originally I saw that anybody who had an order in, it's gonna qualify. But I guess a reservation is different than an order. Because
I don't know how you could get I think you have to use whatever credit is eligible at the time of delivery.
there was a grandfather clause in it.
On the 7500.
Yes, there was a
Oh, okay.
grandfather clause. At least that's what they were pushing out there. So I thought that they were going with that, which would have kept everyone safe. But you got Rivian saying, "Hey, you need to get into a buyer's agreement." You've got Lucid said, "We have to make your deposit non-refundable,"
Mhm.
which I was a little, why? How does it? Because they didn't do a buyer's agreement. They just said, you've got an order in, but only if your deposit's non-refundable. So it's kind of like you can just kind of make it up on the fly.
So a couple points that came in on my chat. MD Hofsty said operating expenses went down quarter over quarter, but their cost of goods is higher than their revenues, which means the more they make, the more they lose.
Yeah. Wow.
But they had to honor a lot of lower prices than they had expected. So hopefully, because you can't survive if you're selling at a constant loss.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they've got to straighten out their supply chain and figure out why their costs were so far off.
Yeah, Digital Blade Canada says RJ is a sharp guy, but he does not inspire confidence in their mission.
Yeah. Well,
so that's all very exciting news. Any other really exciting news in EV world?
yeah. If you're working in the janitorial department on the Chevy Bolt, be prepared to fight for your life.
Chevy Bolt assembly plant shuts down after fight results in death.
Yeah, that's too bad that somebody died, and all I got to do is say, "Wow!" It's like there's so many. I'm going to change the tune on this. There's so many factors that can screw up a production line. Here's one. Wasn't expecting this one.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like a workplace injury. This was apparently someone. Multiple blunt
Deputies
force.
arrived to find him unconscious and bleeding. CPR was performed. Deputies could not revive him.
And that's too bad.
Yeah, it's, we give Mary a hard time. I would argue this one might have been outside of her control.
I think so.
But regardless, the line shut down.
Yeah, makes you wonder. Was it just because of investigation purposes, or did something happen on the line where
maybe?
I don't know.
John Yent points out if it was Tesla, Elon would be blamed personally.
Oh yeah, because it was the workplace environment was hostile.
Right.
Though I think this is a good example of what an actual hostile work environment really is.
A lot of the people online who complain about work conditions at Tesla and SpaceX, I am confident have never had a job. Because I've had jobs. Most jobs suck. A job ain't nothing but work.
With someone standing over you, making sure that you work, and then telling you how you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. And making your life miserable in an assortment of interesting ways. But at least that's all the bad news for Chevy.
Not so much. Actually,
Really?
For Chevy it is. But for the rest of the GM line, or on certain models, GM makes the 1500 OnStar subscription mandatory on GMC, Buick, and Cadillac models.
Because, again, not only do people love subscriptions, I love a subscription for a thing I don't want.
Well, if that's the case, I have one for you. I'm going to need your credit card information. You're going to send me $24.99 a month.
Great.
And I'm going to give you something that you don't want. Maybe I will give you. I'm going to send you some pink socks.
So their premium option is $49.99 a month. That's insane.
Does that come with a back rub?
No. $49.99. I expect a front rub.
So just to be clear, the subscription includes things like using your phone as a key fob. Tesla has that for free. Polestar has that for free. That's cool. Data-enabled navigation. Tesla, I know their service is $10 a month for all the streaming and all the navigation, all that crap. Audio streaming, that's also included on Tesla's $10 a month. Most of the other vehicles have like Sirius XM or other things, but Dodge does charge I think $10 a month to like remotely unlock your vehicle, and you can get packages higher and higher to do other things. $50 still is on the high end of what I have seen on different vehicles. Ford is free for unlocking your car and finding its location, though it doesn't work all that great, but it works better than Dodge's, which you pay for. So yeah, $50 a month. Wow. I guess so. The $1,700. What is it? What $1,500?
$1,500. Yeah.
I guess that's a discount, though, right? For 3 years.
Yeah. John says, at least with an auto loan, there's an end of the tunnel. Subscriptions will go beyond the grave.
I wonder how much money's been made on subscriptions off of dead people. Like,
oh lordy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Until the credit card declines.
Yeah, or it's going out of the checking account, and it's in an estate planner for 3 years, and money just keeps getting pulled out until they figure, oh look, there's money coming out for OnStar. Oh, well,
AOL only survived as long as they did because they made it impossible to cancel.
Yeah.
When I had my AT&T WorldNet account, they wouldn't let me cancel. It was not possible. I had to. They said, "What is your password for your AT&T WorldNet account?" I'm like, I don't think it has one. They're like, well, then I can't help you.
Yeah, I've run into a couple subscriptions recently also that I could not cancel, and I just kept getting billed for, and I had to go into the bank and say, block this account and block that account. They won't let me cancel. Like, well, did you try? Yeah, I tried. I called them, and they said they just kept charging me and said I didn't fill out the proper paperwork, and they never sent it to me, and then they did, and then they still didn't cancel it. To this day, I still get emails from Brink's Home Security telling me that the alarm has been deactivated and activated every day, and I've closed the account. I blocked them from charging me.
And they're expensive.
Yeah.
What they offer is not worth it.
No, it's not. Shame. Shame.
Yeah.
Shame. But at least what they're doing is not illegal.
I couldn't think of a segue on that one.
Oh, I got it. You want to? I'll get it. I'll get it. Tesla public superchargers are deemed illegal in Germany due to technicality. Apparently in Germany there is a law stating that you must visibly show the kilowatts that you are charging someone as they're charging. And apparently Tesla superchargers were okay because you could get that information from the app on your phone. But now that they are allowing other cars to charge there, and apparently they don't have the app, though I'm not sure how they're using it, it is no longer legal. But Germany is not doing anything about it right now, but they have said that Tesla needs to change what they're doing and modify their superchargers with some sort of screen. It's funny how Germany just seems to not want Tesla there.
So I imagine that this law goes all the way back to gas pumps and how you need to have the price per gallon and the actual kind of visible register. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to fix it. And the article does not specify what the immediate remedies are. I'm I assume, that they'll be able to figure something out in an app to make it work. Because if they have to add physical screens to these locations, sounds like a deal breaker to me.
Possibly, but you know what? I don't want to see screens on these things because my experience, and we talked about this last week, with using Electrify America and other Easy Go or whatever it's called, EV Go, the screens are broken half the time. It's just more things that can break and not work. And of my outside of Tesla network supercharging experience, I've had to make several phone calls. I've had them just not work. I've had one time where it was seamless. And I just want these things to work better. And it seems like all they're doing is working less. Now, we also talked about last week, my problems with Tesla superchargers are extremely low. One problem in all of the times that I've used a supercharger, with one not working. So a screen, get the app. The app should be able to do everything without a screen. That's my take. But you want to segue into the broken chargers?
Sure.
Boom! Broken chargers. A frustrating hassle holding electric cars back. Broken chargers. This is another article. We seem to have one every week about how all these chargers suck. This is an Electrify America one that they are showing in the picture. And like I just went over, constantly have issues with them. The article does go on, and at some point in it, it does say something to the effect that Tesla's network is much more reliable than all of the other ones. So there's a good program in place to make these superchargers work properly. So obviously they're not going to go with it.
John wants to know if those are just broken Dodge Chargers. How would you charge a charger?
That sounds like putting a positive to a positive or something.
Philosophy. Yeah, and it is every week, and you'll see a lot of YouTube reviews of different road trips where there is a lot of frustration, but surely it's got to be getting better.
I don't know how bad it was, but I don't use them that often. But when I do, 100% of the time, they'll fail 60% of the time.
You know who's really failing in the auto industry?
Dealerships.
Dealerships are the devil.
They are.
The FTC has proposed rules to ban junk fees, bait and switch tactics plaguing car buyers. As auto prices surge, agency launches rulemaking to protect consumers' pocketbooks and level the playing field for honest dealers. You don't have an opinion on this, do you?
I have no opinion. I think dealerships they're kind of nice guys. Whenever I see them, they're always my best friend, and I really like that. They make me feel special, important. They tell me about really important things about my car, like I've got 5-mile-per-hour bumpers and things like that. So
He gave me free coffee.
Yeah. Oh, I always get a bottle of water. Always. Because as I look at it, I've just taken 50 cents off a $50,000 purchase. So I feel like
you're coming out saving money.
Yeah, winning.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that they're trying to ban with this, and I think this is only goes to as a recommendation, and they can't do much more with it. So this is something that will be recommended, and hopefully maybe some or all of this becomes actual laws. Because if you go through it, and we're not going to go through every detail or any detail, it would be so much better if all these things were outlawed. And
well, so the ban bait and switch claims, that's already illegal. Maybe crack down on it. Ban fraudulent junk fees, as in no more, completely worthless. If it's 99% worthless but 1% valuable, they can say it's still valuable.
Yeah. Well, nitrogen-filled tires that contain no more nitrogen than normal air.
Right.
So, there are so many different things that I've seen just this year on these junk fees, from window tint, which costs 5 to 10 times what it normally would cost, alarm system, GPS systems, window etching, the door edge guards, pinstriping, desert protection packages, rust protection packages. I mean, all of these things you don't want, but you have to buy if you want to buy the car. And it's forcing you to buy something that you don't want. It's like a guy who shaves his head being forced to buy a toupee.
Right?
Don't need it. Don't want it. So.
Yeah, well, but this one will give you free haircuts for life.
Yeah. But I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
Free shampoo every year on your birthday.
Mm-hmm. There was one commissioner, Lena Khan. No, not Lena Khan. I just want to call this person out to the thousands of people watching this. Commissioner Wilson. She voted against this because she thought it would. You don't know what the outcome would be. So we can tell that Commissioner Wilson is probably getting a nice kickback from somebody.
There's something going on because half the stuff on this list is already against your rules, and you want to know what would happen if you banned it.
Yeah, she's worried about unintended consequences. People might end up liking car dealerships. People would never make fun of car dealerships anymore. They'd move on to ice cream manufacturers or something and just be mad at them for trying to rob them every time they can. So, you know what? I'll just call her out and say anyone who's going to vote against us, you're in the pockets of someone else. You're corrupt. So,
yes,
it's a BS excuse to say that unintended consequences. Well, it's your job to figure out what they are. So let's move on.
Right? What do you do for a living, Commissioner? But yeah, let's move on. Do you know that, speaking of an inability to move on,
Ralph
do you know
Nader.
Ralph Nader has called for NHTSA to order removal of Tesla full self-driving?
Yeah, Ralph Nader, Mr. Unsafe at Any Speed, just doesn't like the fact that it makes me wonder whose pockets he's in now. Maybe that guy who put out that phony
For sure. Dan
video.
O'Dowd.
Yeah, maybe he's in his
Sure.
pocket or something.
Sure.
But to see the obvious that autopilot, even with the mistakes that it makes, is involved in less accidents than the human driver. And it says in here that autopilot makes a mistake, or FSD makes a mistake every 8 minutes. There's a lot of drivers out there, but they don't seem to be causing a lot of accidents because you don't hear about them, do you?
No. And the current figure is for autopilot something like 10 million miles a day. And even FSD beta has 4 times as many miles logged as Blue Cruise.
Yeah.
So I would assume that, errors will crop up more often as more of it is used all the time. And there was a video by Sandy Monroe's team yesterday, I think, with a ride and drive in the Bolt. And he said the adaptive cruise control is pretty good once you can figure out how to turn it on. And yeah, if where you can use it is extremely limited and turning it on is extremely difficult, you're not going to log very many miles.
That's true. And I want to say that the Hyundai Ioniq 5 has the adaptive cruise control. Turning it on is also difficult to get it where you want it to be. And then it also has some sort of autopilot. I don't know what they call it, but how many levels of suck are there?
Oh, I believe the official number is 8.
Okay, 8. So it's probably at a 6 on the suck level.
Right.
8 being the worst, just to be clear.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it can stay in the lane. It can handle some curves, but there's some curves that it can't, and you don't know when they're coming.
Oh, that's scary.
So some ramps from, like going from one major freeway to another, and you've got the large, high-up ramp. You're doing the whole thing. The Teslas all do them fine. I've never had a problem with it. But on the Ioniq, it will start doing them. And then it's just kind of like, oh, I can't do this. So it just stops. No alert. It'll alert you for everything else. If you fart too loudly, it thinks like something's happening. You'll get an alert. But as the car's turning. No, this is not for me. And you're going 70 miles per hour, and it just turns itself off. Fortunately, I am the attentive driver, and I've caught it every time. But still, you're doing the little whoa. What was that? On a ramp doing 70.
And Jeff pointed out, Blue Cruise in the Mustang does the same thing. Just drops out on you on corners that may be too sharp.
Yeah. No alert saying I'm unsafe at any speed. It just says I'm off. And
Later.
Yeah, and it comes back on once you straighten out. It comes back on by itself. Where I know on the Teslas, when you shut it off or you've disabled it, it's off and you have to manually turn it back on. On the Ioniq, once you're back on a straight line, it goes back on. There's some nice things about that, because if you need to change lanes, you don't have to shut it off and then turn it back on. You just change lanes, get back in your lane, and it's back on. Well, that's kind of good. But when it randomly goes off and then comes back on because of road conditions and doesn't say anything, in the autopilot on the Ioniq is really the only other autopilot I've driven. The Polestar doesn't have it. The Lucid did not have it, the one that I drove. So I'm going to say Tesla's got the best one. The Ioniq's got the worst but I'm only judging two. So.
All right, well, let's keep moving because we are short on time.
Oh my God!
Do you know
what are we talking about? We're running.
Tesla Models 3 and Y are the most queried luxury cars in the U.S. for auto loan.
You said queried.
Queried.
Yeah.
Quarried. Mm-hmm. They
quarried.
They rock.
Definitely not quarried.
They rock.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because would you consider the Model 3 a luxury car?
Well, no, it's a premium car, and so this was explained on Autoline After Hours by John McElroy. He was saying that it's an old distinction in the auto industry. There are premium brands and there are non-premium brands. So even though you can get a very luxurious $100,000 Chevy Silverado, it's still not a premium brand. Therefore, it's not a premium car. And you can get a $30,000 Cadillac sometimes, and that's still considered a luxury brand, even though it's not a luxury car.
Sounds like stereotyping to me.
Well, right, but if this is how they've been doing it for 70 years, I think they know. But my question is, does that translate to sales?
Oh, I think it sure does.
Oh, does it?
By the way, where was Wuling on that list?
Oh, I don't know that we have a category for that.
Yeah.
But you can probably take that. You can probably drive it onto the green. Tesla dominating U.S. luxury car registrations in first half. Now, would you consider Volvo a luxury car?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess.
I think it's been considered.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
So, but the big takeaway here isn't that they're outselling the competition. It's look at the first half of this year compared to the first half of last year. Everybody else on this list has fallen significantly, and Tesla has almost doubled.
So maybe there really is not a supply issue, or maybe Tesla's buying all the supplies.
Yeah, it's pretty big deal. I wonder what it's like in Europe, though.
Well, let's take a look.
Oh, look at that! Tesla Model Y overtakes Mercedes GLC as Europe's best-selling premium SUV.
Yeah, the GLC is okay. I don't know if you've ever been in one or seen them.
Have not.
I think they come in different versions, like a 250 and a 350 or something like that. But the 250, I think, it might be that really small one. Very, very small. They use them as loaners a lot at Mercedes. But I'm surprised that the GLC was the best-selling premium SUV.
Yeah, in Germany, I would believe it. But for all of Europe, I'm a little bit surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because they don't sell a lot of SUVs. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's just because the Model Y is a good car.
Well, and when you're talking about the supply crunch, what's the biggest What's the most important part of an electric car?
Just the batteries, the chips,
It is the batteries. Where are you going to get more batteries?
You're gonna make them yourself.
Well, sure, but also Panasonic to increase EV battery production for Tesla by 10%.
Oh crap! That was a segue.
That was the segue. Skiller.
It's right on the wall behind me. Went right over my head.
Yeah, Panasonic will boost production by about 10%. And like you were saying, though, they are buying from everybody. The biggest in the world is CATL. They have something like 38 or 41% of the entire market, and Tesla buys from them for cars in both in China for sure. The next biggest would be what? Panasonic, and Panasonic, or no, LG might be biggest.
I think
anyway,
they were both up there.
Yeah, LG sells for the performance models in China and the long range models, and LG also provides in Europe. And then Panasonic, who makes the cells for the S and X and is in the joint venture to make the 2170s, and they're building a 4680 plant in Kansas. And then who's next on the list? Samsung, who is building a 4680 plant, and at number 6 on the list is SK Innovations, who is also building a 4680 plant for Tesla. And so the 6 of the top 10 are working for Tesla.
But the most important thing to me on that is, where are they sourcing their minerals?
Yeah, where indeed.
Because that is going to be a big thing in the coming years.
BYD is the one I forgot to mention. That's a convenient segue, I suppose. BYD is also already supplying batteries for Giga Berlin.
With the blade batteries.
Yeah. So they're using blades, they're using pouches, they're using cells.
You know, it's going to be cool when they can make batteries into specific shapes that could fit into things that normally were empty spaces on cars.
Like what? A-pillars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got
Put batteries in all your pillars.
Yeah. Because you could also do that. You could end up also doing that into motorcycles, bicycles, and things like that. To
Put them in the forks.
Yes. You absolutely see what I'm saying. But
wow.
A 3D printed battery that is formed into empty space.
Yeah. You know where cheaters hide the batteries on their secretly electrified race bicycles, don't you?
Rat hole?
Well, in the pillar where the seat goes.
Okay.
And then it just connects right into the axle. And it's a $10,000 upgrade on your bicycle.
And what kind of races are those?
Like Tour de France. You know, cheater races.
Oh, okay.
Oops, all cheaters. Oh, we are right down to it. If anybody's got any last minute questions they want to get in, go first, I guess. And, I want to thank my patrons. I want to thank Bear's patrons. I want to thank all our subscribers. You can subscribe on both channels. We simulcast this because we're crazy. And, the first couple of weeks we had a lot of technical issues and people were like, why are you doing it, man? And we've never been able to answer that question.
No, we haven't. But I'll tell you what, it's fun. It's a good time. It's probably the only thing I look forward to each week. It's Tuesday. Brian just sent me his list, and I've got to come up with something now because he got all the good topics. Maybe I should do the crap on Mondays.
Yeah.
But it's always we never run out of things to talk about, so that's good.
Yeah.
I also want to thank my Patreons because they are awesome. My Patreons are better than Brian's Patreons. I know that my Patreons could take yours in a fight. Just saying. So I want to thank all of them for kicking Brian's Patreon's butts. And we are going to be doing this again next week. Brian will be having his next live stream Friday. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
And I will be doing my next live stream of the Lucid site on Thursday.
And for those who don't know, September 10th at the Fully Charged event in San Diego, I will be hosting a panel, which is pretty neat. And I've got a coupon code for 15% off if you need it at checkout. It's just MTW for My Tesla Weekend. I feel like, the other thing I was going to say is, did you guys notice no buffering today? Yeah, I got fiber. We have fiber now, so I have high fiber diet for my internet, and it keeps the pipes moving good.
Yeah, I got Bran and it did not work. So I kind of didn't understand the concept.
Bran internet is,
Slow.
Patreon Mud Wrestling suggests John, and who is this, adds only if we're in bikinis, to which I would add, ain't nobody want to see that. So I'm on Patreon and not OnlyFans. Come on, man.
Whew.
Right? I mean, right.
I think you should just do it anyway.
I saw a funny one that said OnlyFans, but it's me on acid trying to put together IKEA furniture.
Oh, God.
That's... I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it. Good week, good show, good everything.
Yes.
Sure,
yes,
appreciate you being here, Bear.
Well, thank you, Brian. I will, of course, see you next Tuesday with a host of new topics. And we almost forgot to say thank you, Mary. You led.
Oh, Mary. She did lead. We did give her a little bit of grief. Well, I should probably end my poll, huh?
What was your poll?
It was, is it too hot, too cold, or just right? And no, just no, got 6% of the vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going with too hot. You saw what the inside of the Teslas were before.
Yeah.
Well, all right, before we go, we're going to leave on that note. I'm just going to show everyone how hot it is here, and you're complaining. Let's see if we can get this up on the screen so that everyone can see it. Let's see if it will focus. Oh, I don't want to get my
climate interior, up a little, up a hair, 141 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. That's what the inside of my Tesla is right now.
It's a nice, what he does before he parks is puts in sealed sous vide bags and just leaves them on the passenger seat to cook. So when he goes into the car later, he's got a nice tender stew.
I always leave a jug of milk in there, but that is one nice thing about these EVs is that you can just go ahead and turn on the climate very easily, and you're not sitting there running like the gas. But you can do that on a lot of vehicles, but you have to in Arizona. You will burn yourself. So anyway, I think